Flat Earth researchers, debaters, and debunkers. I thought it was important for newcomers. I know a lot of people already understand this, but it's important to reinforce the point that anyone and all of us are experts in the geometry of perspective and the way we see the world. And so just wanted to do just a quick demonstration of that, and how the fact that, oh, hello, Salonion, evening. We can observe parallel lines. Hi, TP. Maybe I should just see who comes in before continuing the introduction. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? You know, TMF, hi. I think the most important thing here is to, hi, Execrate, hi, mate. To keep on driving this point home, the difference between the visible world and the geometry of the visible world. And, oh, hello, Perfection, hi. Yeah, hopefully this will be a better one, because I'm hopefully still connected to the Wi-Fi. Oh, thank you, TMF. Yes, well, thank you. Hello, David. Yeah. You know, there's hope that I will get back to my family soon. So you guys can keep me company in the meantime. Oh, dear. So... Spookismo, hey. All right. So I'll just kind of carry on blabbing away. Feel free to, contribute, and I'll come back to the chat in a second. Hi, Ranty. Good to see you, man. Yeah, okay, so yeah, let's just, reiterate this point, drive it home. I've had a lot of it's a shame to call them trolls, but they are, because, they ask leading questions and where's your proof, blah, blah, blah. Well, the proof is everywhere. We are the authority on our vision. We are all experts on what we see and how we see things, and how that translates from a visible world into a tangible world. So we'll just look at a very, very, in fact, I've seen kind of surveyors making this point, missing the point, missing the difference between the visible world that we see and how that's being converted into an imaginary curve. And yeah, it's just all you've got to have is that awareness. Hello, Rune. Hi, Tony. So it's very simple, isn't it? Here we're looking at two parallel lines. Yeah, these things here, and of course we know that if I go ahead and do this, we get this apparent convergence. We know that in reality they're not converging. Of course, the difference here as well is that we could place a ruler here, and yes, that would be a physical measurement. I'd say that might be 1/2 meter or something like that. So let's say 50 centimeters between these two bars. And of course is the same all the way along. Of course, we can look at the ruler and we can make an observation of the measurement, but the distance that we are from it wouldn't make a difference. It would just be we'd just be reading off that ruler. And of course, that same ruler, 1/2 meter apart, all the way along this line of railings, will appear to converge. That's it. That is it. So, of course, and then beyond that, what have we got? We've got clouds which are the same height above the surface, just as this is an equal distance above this. The top bar is an equal distance above the lower bar. But of course it appears to converge in a distance. So of course the clouds are doing exactly the same thing, aren't they? They are an equal distance, pretty much. They're the same type of clouds above the surface, and off they go into the distance, and of course they are appearing to converge. Just like that here, we can make the same observation right here with this railing and with the surface and the sky, and of course the surface appearing to rise up to eye level. Ori, hi. Good morning. Okay, it's evening for me here. Yeah. So it's funny, I saw a surveyor trying to make a point, a Globey believing surveyor trying to make a point when he put a ruler across a pipe and said, there you go, there's a measurement. His point was that you can measure the diameter of the pipe, and then you can know the circumference of the pipe because you've got the diameter. Great, okay, again, there's no denying that you can use mathematics to do that. But I tried to ask him, I said, so, well, look, you look through the pipe and you have this measurement across the pipe to get the diameter, but what you're looking at, what about the other end of the pipe? It looks smaller, but is it the same size? Yes, it is. But so again, looking through tunnels is an excellent example of perspective and the spherical nature of perspective. A few trolls have picked up on a comment I made at the end of another video just recently stood here about the fact that the Earth would look like a sphere or a circle the further away we got from it. And that's simply because of the way light behaves. And then, of course, the question was, where's your proof that light is spherical? Well, it follows the inverse square law. Again, all of these things have descriptions, mathematical descriptions, and nothing changes. This is the thing. Nothing changes ever, apart from our perception of it, whether we're talking about the stars and all this stuff, because we don't have tangible physical proof. So yeah, anyone can do an experiment like this and look at these parallel lines and understand that there's a difference between seeing the parallel lines. We can judge it, but look at that. I mean, isn't that funny how the distance between my thumb and finger is maybe an inch or so, but of course the distance between those two parallel lines is approximately half a meter. Yeah. So what does that say about the visual geometry? And yes, it's correct to use the word geometry because we are talking about the difference between Euclidean and non-Euclidean. So just to review it, Euclidean geometry is the fact that the distance between these two parallel railings will always be the same. Physically, the tangible world, the physical world, we have Euclidean geometry going on here. But in our eyes, in the lens of this camera, which works in the same way as our eyes, we have, of course, non-Euclidean geometry going on. Especially when we suddenly change our perspective and we get this, these parallel lines going off into the distance. Of course, our vision is working in the same way. It's like a 2D screen. It is just like everything being projected onto a screen in our eyes. That's basically what's happening, isn't it? The light's coming into our eyes. It's getting projected onto the retina, which is essentially still giving us this screen view. We obviously understand the depth of field, this axis going off into the distance, and then of course we then kind of have this spherical, if you can imagine it, this spherical geometry governing all of that. Do you see what I mean? To that kind of vanishing point. Okay, if you again, it's taking from the side-on view, isn't it? We've got this lost the connection because I just got a little bit too far. So of course the conversion comes, the translation of perspective into an imaginary curve comes with this spherical geometry or non-Euclidean geometry, and you don't have to be a mathematician to understand this. Yes, it helps if you're a mathematician and you want to describe it in a language that other mathematicians will understand, and of course use the equations. That's really, that just comes down to someone's ability to be able to use the language of mathematics. Some are very proficient, some are very fluent, others are not, but we are all experts in our vision. And of course, this whole thing, all of this related to belief, the belief that we live on a globe is just that, because we have not been taught to consider how we see the world. But we have been taught that, of course, the geometry, and whether it's pi and ratios and things like that, we all understand 360 degrees. We understand all that, but to relate that to the way we see things, the geometry, the visual geometry of perspective. Yeah. Oh, hello, John. Okay. Yeah. So it's funny, isn't it? Because it's everywhere you look. There it is. There is that spherical geometry playing out. Even though that in a side-on view, I suppose what I was saying, in a side-on view, you'd end up if you wanted to convert this into a side-on. So you wanted to illustrate a side-on view of perspective, then of course you end up using triangles, yeah. But we end up with 180 degrees or 360 degrees when we start messing around with triangles. So again, it's all based on having this hemisphere, and of course we have the celestial sphere, which starts at the horizon, which of course is at eye level when you're looking straight ahead. All of these explanations for the globe are just a conversion of perspective, looking across a flat surface. So this of course is where, you know, the math magic has been passed off as science, and the compartmentalization of it, or the lines have been blurred between real physical measurements. So this is really, you know, if people pretend not to be able to see it, then they are only defending a belief and ignoring completely how we see the world. And you even have people saying that, you know, perspective has nothing to do with the eyes. I mean, it's just, how ridiculous is that? Wide awake, Phuket word, what's happening now? Oh, good to see you, man. Yeah, I like your latest videos. Yeah. Yeah, invisible, exactly. So, and of course, yeah, invisible viruses. And I really do hope, although maybe I'm hoping against hope, that this whole thing wakes people up to how easily we are led to believe things. Yeah, it's all the same, isn't it? It's all the same. Absolutely ridiculous. And we do live in a crazy, messed up world where people are being, you know, made even more crazy by these invisible enemies, and just no clarity at all. And the constant reinforcement. I did want to kind of go off on the psychology of it all, Bernays and all that. I think it's worth putting that out again as well. That was a major thing for, understanding that there are people out there, the difference between individuals and group mentality, and how people act as a group and behave as a group and react as a group. There's psychology behind this, and of course we know that the material world of advertising and pretty much everything that we are led to think and believe in our culture is I don't know why I lost it. It should be well in reach of the Wi-Fi. They're all in this chat. Yeah. Wobbly boost. Yeah. So it is essential, isn't it? Oh, guy wants to park here. I gotta move. That's all right. Don't be scared. Oh, it's funny. This guy was just waiting for me to get out of the way. If it was in Thailand, he would have gone past with a hair's breadth and not given a toss. But yeah, I must shout out to the channel Vortex Puppy and the video The Great Switcheroo, which was presented by Gav, who is a mathematician. Most of you probably know him, but it is worth revisiting that or pointing people to that video because this is one of the first modern day explanations and very well presented ways of putting the same thing across. What I'm demonstrating here in an observation that anyone can make is an understanding of how the spherical geometry of perspective has been converted into this imaginary curve. Yeah. So, Eddie Thomas, rewind, please. Oh, sorry, mate. A bit of a late comer, are you? Yeah. So, isn't it? To me, this was fascinating at first, and it was obvious when the horizon rises to eye level, and you actually start thinking about it. This is probably the thing, isn't it? We've got to actually think about it, and that goes for anything in life. We just reflect on what we've believed, and we then consider, what we thought or saw, and if we can put it into perspective, then things start to make sense. And of course, one of the, all of this globe Earth thing comes down to it is just a concept, that tries to. Well, it is related to. It is very meaningful to all of us because it attempts to answer those questions about putting the Earth somewhere in space, doesn't it? Or the Earth's place in the universe. There's this attempt to define where the Earth is. And of course, as a consequence, we are actually trying to define where we are and who we are and all of that. So, of course, all of this ultimately does pertain to a desire to have answers that are otherwise left, or to have answers to questions that are left unanswered because we don't know. So it's, knowledge, belief, the difference between knowledge and belief, the distinction between those two things. And even physicists will understand and admit that the way physics is described mathematically, or the concept behind it, is, of course, this kind of Newtonian stroke Einsteinian way of perceiving it. It is understood that it's all a perception. Yeah. I can't remember the physicist's name, who used to do a lot of classes. Good Times for All has done some videos on him recently. Louis, I can't remember his name now. But he admits that it's a concept, it's a way of perceiving things. The mathematics doesn't change. The mathematics works fine. But, it doesn't make any difference to where the Earth is in space. Masks in shops. Who's mentioned that? Perfection. Yeah, that's absolutely crazy. I would personally try to look at it as purely business, because I know, for example, that in Phuket, in southern Thailand, there's rubber there. This is talking about gloves mainly, PPE, but of course there's some issue with the masks. I mean, what you actually have now is we're talking shipments of masks have probably been prepared or promised, or payments have been made for millions and millions of boxes of masks. So of course, with this scamdemic, and people in the know pushing this scamdemic, there are of course beneficiaries where, if they have control of the production and manufacture of PPE, then of course, what do you need? What is the CEO of the country going to do? He's going to provide the market for that. So this whole thing about having to wear masks in shops I see it just as, again, purely as business. Yeah. We all know that the science is pseudoscience and it's wrong science, you know. And of course, we have the usual thing where, amazingly, people are not questioning it. And you can argue with these believers all you like. You cannot reason with them. You know, Boris has told them on TV they must wear masks. Nobody's questioning it, as far as I can tell. But I will boycott the shops. I will try my best to go to the market. I won't be. It's been bad enough just following the lines. But so 4 months on, 5 months on, isn't it crazy that you could even argue that point? But it is pointless because they've already created the environment from the get-go where certain things will be sold. Insurance is another thing, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Yeah. So yeah, all of this, everything, all of these things, from the globe to COVID, it's all about business. It is just business. And of course, with business, the thing is, you have to appeal to people on an emotional level, whether you're trying to sell them a car or a house or a concept, or it's, you create the need. Of course, there's a lot of commerce which is done because there's a need for it. But of course, there are entire industries, for example, the mathematical modeling industry, that has been created. And that's what we're dealing with these so-called scientific advisors. And again, this should be a really clear message to anyone seeking any kind of reality check. So-called scientific advisors working for corporations with operation bidding for business. And we, of course, are, these are the kinds of things that we don't understand unless we look into it or research it or think about it. But as usual, we've got lots of apathy. I don't need to research that. Blah, blah, blah. So, Steve, hi. The only thing that has changed for me is queuing outside the shops like a COVID idiot. Yeah, they need the mask to keep the illusion real. So then, yes, definitely. That is it, isn't it? It's a perpetuation. And again, I'm kind of amazed that people still go for it. Well, they still, we've all forgotten, haven't they? Everyone's forgotten that this is supposed to be because somebody ate a bat in China. Everyone forgets about that and they just get wrapped up in the whole illusion of it all. Yeah, absolutely. Perpetuate the fear. Keep it in your face. Because it's funny, isn't it? Because you see people walking about and they naturally, if they're not being told, they're forgetting it. Not been anywhere since the beach since March. Pretty much. Hey, West Coast Wisdom. Hi. Pretty much the same here. This is the beach here that I go to, and that's about as much toing and froing as I've done too in the past few months, which is becoming a bit tedious. I'd rather be on the beach in Phuket. Yeah, but as far as that goes, I'll just give you a quick update. There's still several thousand Thais that are stuck here in the UK, and I'm in the moment still unclear. Well, I know exactly what I've got to do to request. I have to request a certificate of entry, and then after having that, I've got to request another visa. And of course, I have to have insurance and I have to have COVID tests and things like that. Those are the current regulations for getting back or even being considered to return as a family member, as a father. Insurance is crazy. You have to have coverage up to $100,000 worth of insurance. But I've heard exactly the same is true for example, some friends of mine who went to see they're in the US and they went to see their daughter in Canada. and they had to go through the whole thing as well, just across the border into Canada, and they had to have the insurance, they had to have they had to basically prove that they were the parents of this Canadian resident. And when they got there, the border people made a call to the daughter to see, okay, there's a couple of people here saying it. So it's what a palaver. What a bloody palaver. And so in many ways we can see that mission accomplished for the global elite, tracking and tracing everyone, keeping tabs on everyone. We know that what this is all about, but it's funny, isn't it? You try to tell someone, and they can't even make the connection between the mask wearing and this whole control mechanism that's been put in place. People have been warning about it for years, but unfortunately, the internet is a double-edged sword, isn't it? There's still much control over that, even though we can seek out, we can do our own research and we can find some answers to some of those questions. But unfortunately, like any media, it's all compromised. Yeah. Run. Our video to help other people understand how spherical geometry has been converted, of perspectives has been converted into an imaginary curve. So that's the video is The Great Switcheroo. Yeah, so what's that? Wobbly post. The man who invented the reverse transcript test 40 years ago said it fundamentally is useless for diagnosis. Okay, then he died to the test. Okay, yeah. This is it, isn't it? We are living in a world governed by commerce and the perpetuation of ridiculous beliefs. So even when you're free, it's difficult to be truly free. This is of course very worrying, but I think I've said it before. Commerce will rule also in will have to start traveling again. They'll have to start opening up countries again. It's just insane that entire nations have been compromised in this way by the likes of Bill Gates, the big pharma, the insurance company, the insurance modelers, all that stuff. And of course, it's just like anything else, isn't it? If they start fining people on for not wearing masks, then of course it's generating, just like getting fined for not wearing a seatbelt or not having a baby seat in the car. These are just ways of generating money for the government coffers, for the treasury. That is the aim of the government. That is their job. That is the prime minister or the president's job as a CEO, is to generate money for the corporation. Oh, another channel worth shouting out is Rob S, ROBESS. Go check him out. He's doing some wonderful work off his own back, trying to generate awareness of the illegal legal system that we are enshrouded in. He's even got a van with, and he's just trying to get out there and really spread the word. So yeah, check him out if you haven't already. Rob S, Scottish guy, but he's trying to get a very important message out there. Yeah. So I'm going to love you and leave you. All right, with just one more example. Yeah, Euclidean geometry. Parallel lines don't converge physically. Measuring them would always get the same result all the way along. But of course, the moment we do this, then we get this convergence. And interestingly, if you consider that there's a triangle here, 1, 2, 3 to that point, you end up with this. If you, again, with surveying or whatever it is you might be doing, that's that 45-degree angle. If you're a certain distance away from that post, and then I do 45 degrees, I know that the the other part is going to be, if I'm 45 degrees, then the distance between that and that is the same as the distance between that and that. Yeah, I guess simple mathematics that we all know. But yeah. All right. So have a wonderful day. Thank you very much for coming along, and hope you all have a good one. Hope we will catch up soon. All right. Take it easy, everyone. Cheers.